What's going on, YouTube? This is a first for me. I'm here to talk to y'all about being an animal control officer, and I'm gonna go over kind of my experience as an animal control officer. I'm not an officer anymore. I had to quit due to military reasons. In this video, I'm gonna go over what would probably be your first couple weeks. And this is all, of course, gonna be my experience. It can change depending on where you are, what city you're in, the type of city you're in, big, small, rough, fast paced, slow paced, all that stuff. So first of all, let me start by saying I was an animal control officer for close to a year. I think I was right at like 11 months, 10 or 11 months. And I enjoyed it. It was a great job for me. It was something different every day. I'm prior service from the Army, so having a mission, having a cause, having a purpose was real big to me when it came to a job. And this is more than a job, it can be a career, and I had every intention to make it a career, and I still do. Once we PCS, I plan on trying to get back into it. I'm gonna start by saying, like, my first initial thoughts when I got hired. So when I had the interview, for one, I didn't even know I was going to interview for animal control. I had a previous interview set up, or was supposed to be set up actually, but it never was, and it was actually the animal control interview that I ended up going to. But I thought I was going for a kennel tech position at like a doggy daycare or something like that. And so I go to the interview, I go down to the shelter, and I go to the interview. And as I'm going through the interview process, they're asking me questions, and I'm like, hold on, this is not what I thought this was gonna be. But they left out a lot, which I understand why, and I'll get to that later, maybe in another video. You know, I got the interview done, and I got the job. But then I think like the next couple of days, they gave me an offer, and I took it. And it was a decent paying job for what it was worth. And still underpaid, I think, for as being a public servant, which you are as an animal control officer. But I enjoyed my time. So within the first couple weeks, something you can expect is to be learning how to clean kennels. And that's probably one of the things I hated doing the most, was cleaning kennels, along with some of the other dangerous parts of the job. But early on, being a kennel tech, learning the ropes, how to properly clean the kennels, what kind of chemicals to use, what not to mix, what not to, how long stuff's supposed to be set down. And of course, my wife's calling. All right, so so the first weeks, you're gonna have to learn how to be a kennel tech. Being an animal control officer is, and again, this might change at whatever facility you're at. But for me, the officers, we were expected to know how to clean the kennel. So we're expected to be kennel techs, or to know the job, how to take care of kennels like the kennel techs. We got some training and hands-on training. We were expected to know how to vaccinate the cats and dogs. So that's a little vet tech job. We had to cross train as a vet tech, cross train as a kennel tech. And then we also have to learn how to run the front desk and learn how to dispatch the calls out. And we did that because due to the job being a high turnaround. Animal control is a high turnaround job. Working in animal welfare, there is a high turnaround. It's very mentally draining. So we have to be able to cover down when, you know, we have to. So within the first couple weeks, be expected to learn how to clean kennels, run the front desk, learn how to do adoptions, how to do stray intakes. So yeah, you will be expected to run the front desk, do stray intakes, do adoptions, learn how to microchip. That's another one that you will have to be expected to learn how to do. So, and it could feel like very overwhelming. For me, I was over the cleaning the kennels. I was over running the front desk because it was so fast paced that I really didn't get a chance to learn how to run the front. I mean, I knew how to run it. I learned how to run. I just didn't learn how to do like the finance part and all that stuff. But I learned how to do adoptions, learn how to do stray intakes. I mean, all that stuff kind of leaks into your road time. Like when you're on the road and, you know, you have to do stray intakes in your vehicle, in your trucks. It's kind of, you know, helps you in that aspect. I know in the first couple of weeks, I had to have a talk with myself and think, like, is this really something I can see myself doing? And it was almost like a no-brainer. And the answer was yeah. I felt like I could see myself doing this because I knew the first couple of weeks doing the cleaning kennels and all the other stuff. I knew it was gonna come to an end, and that wasn't my whole job. So I kind of got sped through in a sense because we were so understaffed with officers. We're not so super understaffed, but we were. I think at the time we only had like 7 officers maybe, for a city of 150,000 people. So I was eager to get out on the road and do some stuff. The supervisor I had at the time, she was a dope supervisor. I'm not gonna put her name. I probably won't be using a lot of names in this video just because I don't want people to get, their personal information out there. I think a big thing for me during like my first couple of weeks was making sure I still found balance with work and home and like decompressing, because you're gonna see a lot as an animal control officer. Like again, this all depends on where you're at. The city, the environment, that type of stuff is going to kind of dictate what kind of stuff you see early on. For me, I did see some stuff I probably don't wish nobody to have to see, but it is what it is. And it's just, it was important to me to, when I clocked out, when I got home and I took my vest off, I took off work with it. So I didn't bring all the stress home from, whatever frustrations I had pent up or, whatever it was. I made sure I didn't bring that home. And I learned that from my prior service. I knew it was big to come home and leave that stuff at the door and just enjoy being home, enjoy that time. Because the job definitely does make you appreciate what you have, because you do see people that in some of their worst moments, whether their animals has been, killed, hit by a car, or we're taking them away for whatever the case is. So it is, like I said, it's mentally draining, and finding balance is super important into keeping your stress levels down to a sense. With a job like that, that's super hard to do. It is a stressful job. But one of the things I liked about it was I knew I was going to have a purpose every single day. So even though I had my outline of what my job was, I knew it was going to be different. You see what I'm saying? So even within the first couple weeks of learning how to do kennel techs, like, it's not just cleaning the kennels. Like, you have to go in, leash the dogs, walk them out to in our facility, we had to take the stray dogs that were in the stray holding area. We leashed them, put them in our temporary kennels outside. That way we can clean, do our thing in there. But while we're doing that, you have to understand that these are stray dogs, these are stray animals. So some of them are not the nicest. And we had a color system to kind of let the kennel techs know, let us know whether these dogs are nice. So it's green, yellow, red. Green is friendly dog, nice dog, cool dog, don't worry about it. Yellow, take them slow. Little dog's probably a little fearful. Red is probably going to have to use a catch bow 99% of the time. There's a red on it. I was using the catch bow. Red means that dog will try to take your face off, try to take every single finger off your hand if they get the chance to. And we've had a good amount of those, and that was kind of due to the area we were in. But even that simple thing of cleaning kennels, like, you never know what every dog you go to, every kennel you go to, you don't know what the interaction is going to be. So everything is different, you know what I mean? So, and that was something I enjoyed, the unexpected, just not knowing what's going to happen every day, just walking into something new. I enjoyed that part of it. Embrace the suck, like that was something we used to say in the military, was embrace the suck. Like, just, it's going to suck. Just get through it, thug it out. One thing I learned early on is not be afraid to ask for help, even though you're new, whatever. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, that's one of those jobs where you don't want to mess up, because that mess up could result in somebody getting seriously injured. So if you're not comfortable doing something, like, I learned that early on within my first couple of weeks, like, hey, I need help. And mind you, I was the only male. I work with all females. There was kennel techs. There was two males at the time when I first started. I'll be like 2 males. All the officers were all females until I think my last month. We got another male officer in, but for the most part, like I said, it was only a couple males as kennel techs. And don't be afraid to ask for help. And I was going there because, so I'm 6'1", 230. So I understood that they expected me to be like oh, like go in there all macho and do, you know, nah. Listen, hey, yo, I need help. You know, I'm not comfortable with this dog. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'd rather somebody else come help me do this rather than myself get bit, lose control of the dog, and, you know, things start rolling downhill. Within the first couple of weeks, probably expect to get a little bit more time off than you usually would, just because you're gonna have to do all your training, kind of like you're in process, and you have to do little classes or the HR, all that good stuff. So you're not gonna be on the officer schedule for the most part. That's what it was for me. So like my first couple of weeks, I was getting off at 5. I was coming in at like 7 or 8, getting off at 5, and I was cooling it. It was, you know, that was the nice part about that beginning phase. But that quickly changes. So yeah, in the first couple of weeks while you're doing all your training, your cross training, learn how to run the kennels, dispatch calls, enjoy that time that you do get off, because it's not gonna last too long. While you're learning how to dispatch calls, I would definitely say like that's gonna help you when you're on the road by yourself and when you get into radio traffic and stuff like that. For me, talking on the radio and using comms wasn't, you know, abnormal or wasn't foreign to me because I'd done that in the military. But I did have to change up my lingo a little bit because there were certain terms that they would use that I wasn't familiar with, or stuff that I had to break certain habits. Honestly, the first couple of weeks as an animal control officer, you don't really feel like an animal control officer just because like you don't have the uniform. Well, like I didn't have the uniform on. Like I was wearing kennel tech clothes and, you know, scrubs and stuff like that. So it got discouraging at some times. So I'm at a military installation right now. We do have a shelter on the post, and the shelters in that post, the height is like 5'10" or 5'11" or something like 5. It's not that tall, because every time I walked in, I had to hunch over and like scrub the ground, spray and all that stuff. So I didn't have a good time. I can tell you right now, in your first couple weeks, as easy as it is to say, it's going to be very hard to do, to not get emotionally attached to any other animals. You're going to realize very quick that as much as you want to help every single animal you come across, you're not going to be able to. As much as you want to help every single person you come across, you're not going to be able to. And that's just, it is what it is. Like I learned that very quickly running the front desk within those first couple of weeks, because it's like you're getting all these calls, all these emails, and you just can't help, because there's laws and stuff that are in place. So we just can't help every case is different. Every call, every complaint is different, and you just can't help everybody. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we all have to go home. There's not enough people to run every call. There's not enough officers to run every call. And it's just, you know, sometimes it can be a tough pill to swallow for some people. It wasn't too bad for me. I don't know, maybe something to do with my military experience, but I was able to chalk it up as, hey, I gotta go home too. I got my life to live too. I can't really focus on, you know, what I couldn't complete or what I couldn't get to, because there's just gonna be more issues the next day. Like it's a never end. That's the thing about animal welfare. It never ends. And I think that's why it's so mentally exhausting, because you know at the end of the day, like I'm gonna have to do this again tomorrow. And it almost can give you that sense of you're not doing enough. And I know for me, I had to keep telling myself, like, I'm making some type of difference. No matter how small it was, I'm still making some type of difference. And that carried me throughout my short career. And hopefully the rest of my career, when I do pick it back up, thought process definitely helped. And it kept me motivated, knowing that I was still making somebody's day. But I think as of right now, I think that's gonna be the end of this video. I'll have another video. I don't know how many videos I'm gonna break this down into, but I know I'm gonna try my best to give y'all my full experience, some tips and tricks to learn on the way. If y'all like this video, y'all like the content, make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment, let me know what y'all think. This is my first time doing a video like this. So yeah, I'll holla.